right, let's check these lives. Make sure we're up and running. We are good on YouTube. Go ahead and press the go live button.
A little earlier to use.
Yep, we're good on Facebook too.
Let me try to share
Good.
everything real quick.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
No feedback.
Okay, I'm about to do the same thing. Let's see if I can share it real quick.
Hey, there we go.
No, I don't want it to share it from Balance Period. I want to share it from my profile. Oh, they can hear me. uh, all right.
Fire.
Yeah, mine. How do you do like how do you share it? Like what do you do?
All right,
I'm not.
so I get it on my phone, and I click on the on Facebook. On Facebook, so I go to the bounce period page, and then on your phone, if you look in the bottom right, it'll have a picture of the live video. X on that, you'll see a circle. You're gonna with the balance period logo in the middle. You're gonna click it. When you click it, it'll give you the option to look at it as balance period or as Ray. You're gonna click look at it as Ray.
Yeah, I
Then you
just
go
clicked
down.
that. Okay.
Do that.
Then share it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I see what we're doing here. I'm gonna like it. There we go. Share it.
Now you have that intro song stuck in my head. It's pretty catchy.
It is. Cool. All right. Get off of that. Turn my Bluetooth back on so Whoop can keep track of my heart rate. There we go. All
It
right.
thought you died for it. It thought you died for a second.
Where'd he go? Where'd he go? I'm still here.
He has not been offline for more than 30 seconds in a year. Yeah, there we go.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mindful Mondays. We're doing it a little bit earlier than before, so you have not, if you are subscribed to the newsletter, you have not gotten that yet. That'll be dropping this morning at 10. So just spend some time with us now and know that when we are finishing up this live broadcast, that you will have Mindful Monday, the newsletter, in your inbox with the mindful moment, with some additional resources, with a question that can help expand your level of self awareness, and direct links to this week's episode of the Balance Period podcast, which was episode 153, and we were talking about the value of understanding that how you start your day matters. So, yeah, Nick, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Doing good. A little tired, but doing good.
What's prompting the tiredness?
My little four-legged son, he got into a piece of an onion last night, so
Mm.
just making sure he good. And then I've been still deep diving in the Elden Ring. I'm still not done, but I did cut back a whole lot. Like I know I had like 30 hours in the first 3 days. I finished the week with only like 60, so I spread out
Mm.
like not as much time as one time. And so I was doing that last night too. So I'm just a little bit tired today, but it's all good because I'm actually in the process of finally switching my sleep schedule. So the thought that I had was get up early. Like if I go to bed early and wake up early, it's the same. It's essentially the same thing as me staying up till 3. If I wake up at 4:30 or 5, and I can still take my normal nap, but it's just a way for me to kind of just switch things up because I know how my life is living it this way, waking up when I wake up, going to sleep when I go to sleep, and so I want
Mm-hmm.
to see how much it would change if I did something differently. So the thing that I'm changing differently is the time that I go to sleep and the time that I wake up. So I was like, I'm not gonna take a nap today, so that when like 8:30, 9 o'clock rolls around, I'll be ready to lay down.
Are you planning on like getting a consistent bed and wake time?
Yeah, it'll be between 8:30 and 10, and then getting up between 4:30 and 5:30.
Wait, that's a big gap. 8:30 and 10. I guess it's only an hour and a half.
Yeah. Because the
Interesting.
thing
Yeah, I
is,
mean, I guess we'll
sometimes,
see how it goes.
sometimes I lay down and it's just like, I don't like to be like, oh, I got to go to sleep at this time because I know me. I'll lay down and I won't sleep, but I'll just do a breathing practice and be there for like 30 minutes and still be up, but my body will be
Mm,
resting. And so pretty much I just want to make sure I get in bed around those times. I want to be no matter what in bed before 11:30.
mm.
Period. Like that's like the
Yeah,
ultimate, but yep.
gotcha. Yeah, and I know personally, after listening to the book Why We Sleep, it was just talking about the benefit of like getting like less light exposure and like our bodies generally on average, right? We will get higher quality sleep from the time frame of like 10 to 2. And so
Mm-hmm.
like if you're awake during that time frame and you're not giving your body the time to get into those deeper stages of sleep, then your sleep quality tends to go down. Excuse me. So yeah, it will be interesting to see after you incorporate some of this like more
Mm-hmm.
consistent bed and wake timing if you notice and experience a difference in your energy levels and or anything else that you may be monitoring in your life.
No, definitely. I'm
Yeah.
I'm guessing that the first couple of days ain't gonna be the greatest in the moment, just because doing anything different always brings up resistance because our body's used to doing something new, and I think that's the part that I'm most looking forward to. I've noticed that resistance to things is extremely interesting because it shows up in so many different ways. Like I've had times to where I was like, I'm gonna work out today, and then my foot will start to hurt. I'm like, this don't make no sense. Why is this taking place? And it's just for me, my body feels like it's like, nah, not right now. I don't feel like doing this. And that's just a way for me to do it, to have an excuse like, my foot hurts. I don't gotta go to the gym right now. I'm different. And so that's just kind of something that I just been observing and noticing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely resistance associated with change, but it's necessary. That's how we learn. We don't learn from success as much as we think we might. We actually learn more, or and our brain's ability to like change and to grow comes from the agitation associated with that resistance to doing something new. So, all right, let's go ahead and do a brief mindful moment. Let's do some breathing to start the day, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the weeks that we had and anything else that we just want to bring everyone's attention to today. So, let's do. Let's see a good breathing for today. Let's see. Let's just do balanced breathing. I think that'll be nice just to continue to highlight because it's something that people can do throughout their day at any time just to focus back in on the here and now and not necessarily have to think too much about the count itself. Just having an even breathing pattern, an even inhale and an even exhale. Generally, we shoot for about 6 second inhale, exhale. It's a little bit slower than a normal breath. So just shooting for, and I'll count us through a couple rounds just so that we have the cadence, and then we'll just do some on our own. I'll hand it over to you, Nick, and we can, or I'll have you take us through just an awareness practice too. So,
Cool.
all right. I'll count us down. Remember, your posture is important here. You want to make sure that you're acting as if you have a string tied to the top of your head that's slightly pulling you upward. And you want to, I personally like to inhale and exhale through my nose. It can be more relaxing to inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. But if you are limited in your ability to inhale through your nose, go ahead and just do it through your mouth. Both inhale and exhale. All right. Three, two, one. Inhale. Two, three, four, five, six. Exhale. Two, three, four, five, six. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue to breathe in that breathing pattern.
As you continue to breathe, notice how your clothes feel against your skin. The weight that you're putting on the area that you're sitting on. Notice how your feet feel against the floor, whether they're in shoes or directly touching the floor. And last, notice the weight of your fingers. Awesome. Thank you all for joining us today. And I do want to point out that when we do these mindful moments, and I'm like when I take my turn and point out different things to be aware of, you can literally pick anything. The goal is to pull yourself away from wherever your mind is being dragged to in that moment, back to you, back to the present. In on something that's on you, close to you, and that you have going on with yourself makes it a lot easier to make that transition back to the now.
Yeah, for sure. As we talk about all the time, it's the repetition, just getting in reps at managing your energy through your awareness, because where our energy goes grows. So if we're able to utilize that and right our ability to focus, then we can take our energy wherever it is that we want to take it. We can show up in moments as the person that we want to be, right? Align with our values, and we can make sure that we're investing in our well being, making sure that we're prioritizing time for self care so we can keep our cup full. So, yeah, I put in both of the chats on both YouTube and Facebook the link that you all can go to subscribe to the Mindful Monday newsletter. So, be sure to check that out if you are not currently subscribed. As I mentioned before, each week we offer up a breathing exercise that has a prompt that'll guide you through some breaths. We also have a quote with a little bit more information on the person that said the quote. And we also have question just to kind of expand your level of self awareness. And then we have resources that are associated directly with whatever the topic of conversation for the month and or week is at the time. Currently, we're focusing this month on equipping you with the tools and resources that you need to develop your morning routine, which is the final pillar of your sustainable self-care system. So, definitely excited to talk more about morning routines. If you tune into episode 153 of the show that we dropped yesterday, you'll hear about some of what Nick and I both do in our mornings to help us make sure that we're aligning our energy with our highest good, with us experiencing peace, with us making sure that we're keeping our cup full to start our day so that we can be more intentional about how we manage our energy throughout the day. So be sure to subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you inside. All right. So, as I mentioned before, this month we're focusing on our morning routine. Nick, talk a little bit about just your experience over the last week. Was there anything that changed in your morning routine, or some of the things that you just did over the last week to start your day?
I would say my morning routine got a little bit more intentional. It was I would say Tuesday or Wednesday last week. I was meditating and I had this thought, and it pretty much just changed the trajectory of the rest of my week and kind of how I saw things. And the thought was that no situation like matters. Like what happens to you doesn't matter. The situation that take place doesn't matter. The only thing that'll ever matter is who you are when those situations take place. That pretty much was the foundation of the thought, and so I've been pretty much just running with that from different perspectives, and that caused me to be a little bit more intentional in my morning, in all the routines that I did, but more so focused on the morning routine and what I did in the mornings. So like when I'm brushing my teeth and when I drink my water, focusing in on how my body feels when I do it, or if I have an intention as to why I'm doing it, not just because oh it's good for you to drink in the morning. And I was just sitting there like, whoa, like when I make myself present as I can in every single moment, that means that allows me not to be swayed by the moment or swayed if something happens out of my control and things like that. And so right now I'm just kind of exploring that perspective and what that brings with how I choose to live my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely I think valuable in a just a practicality sense, especially for people who I know we talked about on the show, and our challenge for this week was to have individuals track the first hour of their day. And I know
Mhm.
sometimes for most of us, we don't have an hour, right, that we can curate for ourselves in the morning. But even if you take the practical things that you do every morning and incorporate more mindfulness into them, you'll notice that you have a different experience as a result of more mindfully brushing your teeth or more mindfully getting dressed, right? Like really thinking about the process that you're going through to put one leg right into your pants and the other leg in the sock on. So there's definitely ways to utilize what we talk about on the show, what we do to start every show, which is a mindful moment, to incorporate more of that into your morning, and how that in and of itself is helping you be more intentional about how you're managing your energy to start your day. So that's dope.
What you got going on?
Last week, yeah, similar to what you were describing, I think that anytime we have a topic that we talk about on the show, I naturally am just more mindful of my experience with it. And so I know, as I talked about on the last episode, the big thing for me is just consistency. Like, what can I do on like every day that I feel like is contributing to my wellness in to a certain degree? And my morning routine has evolved over time and hasn't always looked the way that it looks now. But the biggest things for me are prioritizing time for peace. So making sure I'm doing my mindfulness practice, which is something that I do, pretty much every day. Even if it's not a seated meditation, I just prioritize some time just to be quiet and just to be where I'm at. Um, but I think most recently, over the last few weeks, I've been doing those burpees, which I've been talking about. They kind of like end my morning. That incorporates like movement. So last week, though, for me, that was, I averaged about 70 of those a day. So I just set a timer for 5 minutes and I do as many as I can in 5 minutes. And I was getting like 70 burpees in a minute. So
Nice.
it's fun because I'm not sore anymore. After the first week, I was sore. Like I was like, yo, why am I sore from just doing burpees? But now I'm not sore. But it's still not fun. Like I swear, after 20 of them, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
You count?
But
Oh, you wild.
yeah, I count them. I count how many I do every day, and I keep track of them. I have a tracker on my phone of how many I do every day.
No, see, and that's so funny. Like I say that's funny because I would be the one that I'm just focused on the time. I'm going until I hear the beep. I'm not counting how many I did. I'm just gonna make sure that I go as hard as I can until the beep, and I'll probably try to extend the time as I went, as I would do it. Like that would be my approach to it. But I just think that's funny
Right.
because when I sit there and I think about counting, it's like, man, by the time I hit 20, man, I feel the same way. I'm not trying to keep counting this.
Yeah. Yeah, it is not fun. But for me, I'm like, okay, if I'm able to incorporate something, so it's the same activity every day, um, but it still is like it still brings me to that point to where mentally, right,
Yeah,
it's up to me to stay disciplined and keep moving. Because at any time, and no one's holding a gun to my head making me do burpees every morning. So it's like I can stop at any time. But for me,
yep.
it's like in the morning, I'm able to tap into that discipline that I know is beneficial for me throughout the day when I'm tempted to do other things that might not be aligned with what it is I want to accomplish or the person that I want to be. I'm cultivating that mental discipline to start my day every day, which has been beneficial for at least the last few weeks that I have been incorporating it. So that's been cool. And then the other thing has just been getting sun. So just like going, making sure I'm making it a point to go outside in the morning, which today, if you're in Indianapolis, there is no sun. I went outside and was like trying to see how much like lux there was outside.
Say, get in the house.
It was like there's none. No, it was probably like normally when I go out, I said it before, even on like a hazy day, you can, get maybe like 10,000, 10,000 lux. It was literally like 25. Like it was very low today. So I
At a
came back
private party
inside.
today.
I came back inside and I turned my ring light up to the highest and I was just sitting in front of it.
Really?
Cause I mean, it was
In
about
a
a
certain
thousand.
setting?
I mean, I just turned it up as high as it can go. I found
Mm.
the setting so the like the more like light that's similar to light from outside, like the kind of yellow lightish. That
That's what I
one
was
actually
wondering.
produced more than the
Word.
other two light settings. Yeah,
Okay,
so
let me try that out.
yeah, I pretty much just sat in front of it, and I don't remember the exact number. It was pretty high though. It was higher than what I would have expected. It actually might have been. It got as high as like 12,000.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's not bad.
Mm.
I was just staring at it though for a little bit just so I can get that light exposure this morning. That's
Oh yeah.
definitely not what I'm gonna do every day, but you got to work with what you got. Today is just it was one of those days that outside just didn't produce very much. So
But now you got something moving forward, especially when we start get back around to the winter time when it's colder and darker outside. You be able to go in there and get your couple thousand.
right, but I'm looking forward to well, actually, I'm not quite sure what it's gonna look like because this week is daylight savings, so I don't quite know what it's gonna be in the mornings. As because normally now at 7 o'clock, it's like the sun is out pretty much, or
Yeah,
at least starting to
now
come
it's
up. I
about to.
don't, so we'll see. Yeah, I
Wait,
might have to use it a little bit more than often because now we spring forward. So
that's what I figured. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah. All right, now I did mention on the episode that I take some supplements in the morning. So over these next few weeks, I'm just gonna share one of them with you all, and also I'm gonna throw a link in the different chats of where you can get them from because who would I be to share something with you and not share how you can get it? Uh, Let me see. I'm gonna put them in both here. But one of the things that I do is I drink a green juice. It's like a powder that I put in water. Um, and I used to drink Opti Greens, but I would say probably a few months ago, started drinking this brand, Self Evolve. Great. I used to mix the Opti Greens with orange juice. I've been doing my best to limit like sugar intake in the morning. So I started to just drink this with water, and this is delicious with water, but it has probiotics, it has prebiotics, and it's a blend of both fruits and greens. And so for me, it's a great way. I found it, refreshing to start my day with that in addition to drinking water. So I generally have I drink like half of one, and then I use the rest of the half of the bottle to put the greens in, and do it that way. So all in all, you know, supplements aren't for everyone, but for me, I noticed that I didn't really consume very many vegetables like early on in my day. Like normally for dinner, I would have vegetables of some kind, and so I wanted to be able to get the nourishment from eating vegetables in a way that was more convenient for my lifestyle. And for me, drinking a supplement, drinking a greens supplement is how I was able to do that. So that's why I take it. And yeah, I recommend just understanding yourself, right? Knowing yourself, understanding what it is that you might be deficient in or that you might not be getting from your normal food intake. Maybe make adjustments to the food that you eat or, supplement it out. So,
Are you still eating in the? Do you? When is your first meal?
so I played around with my first meal being at like 8:30, but it wasn't really a meal. I would like take my vitamins and then I would eat like 3 eggs. So I was just
Mm-hmm.
consume protein.
No, yeah.
I stopped doing that. Like today, I just consumed like I had my greens, I had my other vitamins, and then I had like a handful of cashews. So
Mm-hmm.
it's fat, a little bit of protein, and so that's why I usually start my day. Definitely, I stay away from carbs in the mornings.
Oh
I do
yeah.
my best to just have proteins and fats and allow that to be my energy source up until I eat. Like my first real meal, I would say is probably not until about 12 or 1 is when I'll eat
Gotcha.
that for the day.
No, yeah. The more you know, because I used to try to do the carbs in the morning until you hear some science and you're like, that makes sense. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it'll get you. All right. So yeah, Nick, anything else that you want to reference, highlight today?
Nah, man. Just it's another week, and we get to we see fit, and I just say take advantage of that. Like, especially if you're a goal oriented person, that's great. Just remember it's the journey. The journey is what gets you to the goal. So don't miss out on the experience you get to have heading to wherever you're trying to accomplish this week.
Yeah. I actually have a video that I'm gonna put out today. it talks about slowing down and moving with purpose.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about it last week a lot, and I'm like, man, I feel like we're always on a go, always doing something, going, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And like what Nick was just saying though, but we miss out on appreciating, right, recognizing the full worth of where we are on our journey because we're always going to the next thing. So if we're able to slow down, then we can more effectively move with purpose because now we're being intentional about who we show up as, right? In the different rooms that we go into, the energy that we bring with us is more intentional because we're not just on the go all the time.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to just pay closer attention to in your experience.
And
Because there's nothing
I'm,
wrong with goals. I think goals are important because it fuels this dopaminergic system that we have, this motivation, right? Which is important for our continued development as a species. So it's nothing bad, there's nothing wrong with it. But when there's no time spent in the serotonin system of connecting to the here and now, they classify that as like a here and now hormone. Then it's just an imbalance in our experience, which that's I mean balance. Period. That's what we're here to help add some context around ways to truly experience that balance on a daily basis for yourself. So keep that in mind.
and I was gonna say that one perspective I like to hold is things I like to simplify it. So we have these goals and we're working towards these things in our lives. And a lot of times, the whole reason we do it is to feel good. And a lot of times when we find things in our life that make us feel good, we'll just add those things to our routine because we feel good and we'll keep doing it. And something that I want to bring to your attention that in our society, it feels good to be busy. But that doesn't always equate to progress. And so it's just something to think about. It feels good to be busy.
Yeah, and the interesting part about that is it feels good to be busy because, well, I know from my experience and feeling good to be busy, not even that I don't, even right now, but it's more so for what I think other people think I should be doing anyway.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
it's so that I can tell people, oh yeah, I got all this stuff going on.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right, I did want to share one more thing though. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. So over the weekend, I got an opportunity to go to my or go back up to South Bend. One of my friends from childhood. I should say childhood because we've known each other for a long time. He turned 30 last week, and he was throwing a surprise birthday party. And so I was like, yeah, I definitely want to go. Like it'll be a lot of fun. And I knew that I would be drinking alcohol, which I don't normally do. And I also knew that I would be going to bed a little bit later than I normally would. I wouldn't be on my consistent schedule, right? So this is actually the Whoop desktop version. So for any Whoop users, if you have not accessed this before, I highly recommend you check it out because it gives you very, very detailed information and just looks a little bit different than what you see on your phone. So let's go back to let's see. So Saturday, this is what my recovery was. No Siri, I'm not talking to you. So Saturday, my recovery was normal, right? At 62%. It's normal. My strain was a little bit higher. So I kind of knew that would probably influence my body's ability to recover a little bit. But after drinking, I did cut myself off. I was done drinking by, I can't remember if it was 9 or 10. It was one of those numbers. I remember just being like, I'm done. And I just started to drink water. I'm grateful that Kelly was with me. So we were able to like stay strong together. She doesn't really drink, so it was kind of nice. I was like, okay, I can, sit here and chill. I did eat 2 cupcakes though. They were
Ooh.
delicious. I normally don't eat sugar that late in the evening, but it was too good to not get another cupcake. But I just wanted to show that coming into Sunday, right, from my sleep, I was in bed for 7 hours and 27 minutes. I had 18 disturbances, which isn't too far off from my norm. My sleep efficiency wasn't that bad. My respiratory rate did go up, so it went up in comparison to what it normally is. But my recovery, as you see, was a 14%, which is, pretty low, especially in relation to what I normally get. And so what you see here is my resting heart rate spiked, so it was up higher than my normal. and my HRV, so my body's ability to take on strain, decreased. Right, normally I'm at around a 56. I was down to a 35, and so I say all that just to say that being aware of myself, I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that this was just a part of me going and enjoying myself, but it didn't stop me from going and enjoying myself, right? I still had a good time. I still, got to hang out with my friends. It was fun. But I also wanted to highlight the value of consistency in what my recovery looks like today. So you see this. I'm at a 92% recovery. I got, pretty decent sleep, but it's because I was back on my regular schedule. So as soon as I put my body back into the conditions that it is used to, I bounce back. And this is consistent with just about every time that I've done this over the last like year and a half. I pay attention to what happens to my body after I drink and then the day after that. So as you see here, it shot back up from that 35 to 68. My resting heart rate went down about 9 points. So it's just, and then my sleep performance, of course, went up because was in my normal sleeping pattern. So I wanted to highlight this primarily because if we're able to understand ourselves enough and to have this system of operations in place where we're able to manage our quality of life based on the habits that we practice, we can go out, we can still have fun, we can still do the things that we want to do and that we enjoy doing to a certain degree, right? In moderation, and know that our body's going to bounce back to that norm. Like that's my norm now. My norm is me getting consistent sleep. I've been doing it for, about a year now. And so understanding just the value of just staying disciplined in your sustainable self-care system and prioritizing time for the habits that help you feel good so that you can function at your best. So I just wanted to highlight that because, why collect data if I don't show it to nobody, right? Because if I don't show it, then it ain't real. Isn't that what they say about social media? If you don't take a picture of it, it's not real.
Pretty much.
But yeah, that's all we got for you today. Enjoy the rest of your week. Keep track of how you spend the first hour of your day. Don't judge what you keep track of. Just pay attention to it. And we look forward to offering up a whole plethora of ways that you can make adjustments to what you notice over this next week so that you can incrementally improve the quality of your morning routine and your overall quality of life. So, Nick, anything that you want to leave everyone with today?
Nah, just enjoy the rest of your amazing week.
Facts. All right. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next Monday.